It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you. We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
Good morning. Mic check, mic check. I'm out of focus. Trying to bring myself in focus. It'll get there. What up, what up? Let me try this. This usually works. I'm gonna say 1 2 1 2. Sorry, technical. Not even a difficulty, just a little. What I get for sitting back and relaxing. Hopefully I'll come into focus relatively soon. Y'all can see my pores. Good morning. I am delirious. I am in need of sleep. What up? What up, Denise? I am so tired, y'all. The struggle bus dropped me off. Hold on, I really want to get in focus. Here we go. All right. Struggle bus dropped me off. Ain't no hairs on my chinny chin. Don't even try it. Struggle bus dropped me off this morning, but I'm happy to be here. The great news is that I did all my prep last night. So just because I stayed up late watching the Green Bay Packers eke out a victory, even though I watched like all the games because they had a free preview of the Red Zone channel, just because I stayed up late trying to catch up on sports and documentaries. That doesn't mean I didn't prepare. What's up, Allie? Allie, you're here. It's so good to see you. I hope I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna text you. Hey, Hillary, look like you had a great weekend. I was on your feed. You always have a great weekend. Good for you. I don't know what that thing was. I think that was you, right? Fishing. I don't know what that thing was that you were holding up with the long nose. But anyway, good morning, y'all. Thank you for joining me on Mic'd Up. I'm your host, Mikagadsden, and and it is good. I'm reading the chat. Good morning, Noah. What's up? We want to do a local news roundup, and also we want to emphasize that tomorrow, September 28th, tomorrow evening, is another city council meeting, and so I want to get folks mentally prepared for a needlefish. I want to get folks mentally prepared for a city council. So you know how it goes. We're going to open up the agenda in a second, but you have until 12 p.m. this afternoon to either submit your written statements or to request to speak and provide public comment. I'm not quite sure as to if they're going to keep the tight parameters in place. From what I'm seeing coast to coast with these groups, these well-funded groups, these Unmask Our Kids groups, the shenanigans are just ratcheting up to like another level. So I assume that they'll use that as an excuse to limit our access to public comment, to the public comment period. Nonetheless, we still have to give public comment. We still are entitled to do so. So I encourage you all to do so, especially because we're going to hit a couple agenda items that got me like, what? You got nerve. What's up, Nicole? Good morning. Good morning. Yep. Let me see. Good morning. Hey, this Justin. Dun, 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 dun. Good morning, Justin. Yo, so I started listening to that episode of Dan Levitt. Billy Corbin's always on point. And if you see me copy and pasting some of his shenanigans, yeah, that's on purpose. That was a really good episode. I didn't finish it, but I was definitely enwrapped. All right, so let's do a quick news roundup. We're going to talk about, of course, Tim Scott. Did y'all see Face the Nation? I recorded a podcast episode. They'll be going out every morning. I'm saying this so y'all can hold me accountable. Mic'd Up podcast will go out once a week, every morning at 6 a.m. Every Monday morning at 6 a.m. And so I did a recap of both the the Sheriff Graziano issue, and also the stalled or failed police reform talks, bipartisan talks. I talked about those two issues. So part police reformation and what I didn't go into depth in terms of how to describe it, but I also included links to content reacquainting folks with the Justice for All coalition work that was done by a coalition of leaders, some of which were included in Graziano's surveillance effort. And so I wanted folks to learn from the document what police reform could look like in this state, in this area, right? So that's in the latest episode of the Mic'd Up podcast that is on Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Spotify. If you're new to the live stream on Twitch, what up? Always encourage you all to support your girl, support this content. Let me switch it up real quick. What up, D Bartlett? Yeah, always you can think. I always want to encourage folks to support this content. First of all, I've got the most committed, I've got the most down for whatever, ride or die Twitch peeps. The community is. I'm talking to all y'all right now in the chat, especially who get up at 7:30 before your work shift, or as you go to work, or as you get the kids together. Whatever you're doing, shout out to y'all because y'all hold a girl up. I'm on the struggle bus. The struggle is real. And if it weren't for the support I get, I wouldn't be able to get up at 5 a.m. or 4:30 and do what I do. So if you are interested in supporting this content, you can click, the link is right there at the bottom. Point that way. Right at the bottom of the screen. That's the Patreon link. Also, if you subscribe to the podcast, you'll find a link there. If you subscribe to the newsletter, you'll find a link there. You get the drift. You get the drift. All right. So I appreciate the support, and I'm not even talking about $100 or $20 a month. Like y'all, $1 a month is dope. I don't take it for granted, and I am building out. I know I say it every week, but it's a one-woman show right now with a lot of help in the back. I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to Jared, my DJ Moldy Brain. Shout out to B-Man. Shout out to Lynn. Shout out to my brother Cyrus. I do have a lot of support, helping think through things and logistics. But when it comes to kind of creating the content, that's my wheelhouse. But Jared's gonna hit me up. He's like, why didn't you just ask me? Good morning, Debbie. It's good to see you, Debbie. Y'all, I'm sorry. You're gonna give it up for Debbie. I love Debbie's a ride or die. Shout out to Diane too this weekend. You've been on my mind. Shout out to Diane, also who's about it and rowdy. All right, let's get to it. Your boy Jared Smith over on Twitter from Charleston Weather. He came up with this forecast for the week. Yeah, it's gonna start off. This is a 52 fake out for real. Starting off like fall. Like I'm here with a blanket because it's a little drafty by this window. But I know it's not gonna stay brisk that much longer today. As you can see, the forecast will be up in the 80s, but it's super dope. Looks like a lot of sunshine. Shout out to you. All right, Nicole. Yeah. That's right. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate you too, you, Nicole, and Debbie. Good morning. Yeah. So yeah, don't walk around here with a hot neck after 11 a.m. when it starts getting warm. That's what like the whole weekend. Like this weekend, I was out on my balcony early in the morning with a hoodie on, reading and drinking tea, being a bougie cliche, on my balcony drinking herbal tea, and I'm like, damn, it's crisp. And then by the time it got midday, I'm out here just like at the store running errands, peeling off layers. So don't be out there. Don't get caught out there layering up because you want fall to come here. Oh, shoot. Thank you, Justin. All right, y'all the real MVP. All right, let's get to it. I do not like my thumbnail this morning for what we about to do. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I do not like my thumbnail. Some days I whiff. Nope. This is the thumbnail for today's live stream. Thank y'all for indulging me with a little chit chat. Of course it pops up over here because that makes sense. All right, here we go. So yeah, local lawmaker roundup. I haven't talked about Nancy Mace in a minute. This picture was wild to me. That's why I included this from a couple weeks ago when she went down to the border. She made sure that I'm gonna be on my best behavior. I ain't gonna go too far, but she made sure to have an assortment of tank tops. I see. So I blurred out the law enforcement officer that was pictured with. We're going to show the real picture. I just did that to be cute. But it's Nancy Mace, Tim Scott, Lindsey Graham getting dunked on by Trump, but he still, he can't quit Trump. So still going back for more punishment. I couldn't imagine being a man of this age or being being an adult of this age and being allowing myself to be played over and over again for political gain at this age and stage in his career. You racked up enough credibility. Like John McCain didn't even go out like that, and I ain't in the business of giving John McCain no type of hero worship at all. But even like, well, what Omar said on the wire, every man gotta have a code. Man, what's your code, Lindsay? What's your code for real? Tank tops and Ray-Bans. What up, Lynn? Exactly. Jeez. Where's the romper? You know what I mean? Like, she was wearing that romper in the winter. We need to see the seasonally appropriate, you know what I mean? And I think she was in Detroit this past week. I think according to her Twitter, she was in Detroit this past week wearing them boots. Anyway, I'm trying to be good. Let me stop. I have no drip. You see me at Whole Foods, if you see me at Trader Joe's, you see me at the post office, I look like a substitute gym teacher with Seton Hall basketball shorts and a Knicks top. Literally, that's what I wore yesterday when I went to Jimmy John's to get a sub for the games. So I know I have no drip, but I ain't a lawmaker neither. All right, so local news, local lawmaker roundup, but we are going to get into Tim Scott's police reform press tour situation. I already reminded y'all, Mic'd Up is updated and live on your favorite streaming podcast streaming platforms, including Spotify. I'm gonna close this out, but yeah, I talk about it a little bit there, but I want to go into depth here because let me tell you something. Margaret Brennan, I love her, and I can't wait till Cory Booker comes on Face the Nation. Did I say Meet the Press? If I said Meet the Press, I meant Face the Nation. I've been doing that all weekend. But Tim Scott was on Face the Nation, throwing Democrats under the bus, further confirming, my suspicions that, a lot of the bipartisan talks around police reform are largely just theater. And given that the midterms are coming up and also that Tim Scott has ambitions to run for president, one thing he ain't gonna do is look soft on crime. So the way he positioned the compromises that he and the GOP were willing to make, the way he positioned them, I feel like Tim Scott played himself a couple times. Yeah, I mean, I think Tim Scott showed that he's just not a mellow gangster. You're gonna hear me say that over and over again. Sometimes I'll say either I borrowed this from somebody. Ooh, where did I get this from? It was a dude. Oh, I'll figure it out and credit the person. But like they call Trump a rhythmless gangster, right? Like usually if you're gonna be, I'm from Jersey. Usually if you're from Jersey, usually if you're like a skillful lawmaker, even if your politics are trade trash or like super buns, you have a level, you are able to employ a level of diplomacy, finesse that can help massage your less than stellar voting record or your less than stellar ideological stances. And I think Tim Scott, while I do think Tim Scott is getting better, I ain't gonna lie, he just doesn't project confidence. He projects, I can hit my marks. And being able to nail the choreography is not enough. You gotta have a little razzle dazzle. You gotta have a chain ball kick. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to jazz hands. You gotta do something. You know what I mean? You gotta have a shoulder shimmy. You can't just hit the choreography, right? You gotta come and bring some personality to it. And he don't do that, but he hit his marks. He'll hit that. He'll get that. Maybe because the Tonys were last night. That's what I get. In 5, 6, 7, 8. Trump and school, privatization and chain ball kick, body roll, the boss family, corporate donors. We got to come up with Tim Scott. Let's interpret Tim Scott's policies via use interpretive dance to like demonstrate what his policies are. He got to do more than that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, you can't be out here looking like the former members of Destiny's Child. You got to be Beyonce. You trying to run for president. You got to be Beyonce. You got to have something to it. All right. I don't even know where to start. We got to start local. We got to start real local. So let's first start off with local news. Let me see. What was it that? Let's do a COVID-19 update real quick. WCBD channel 2.
As the Delta variant spikes in hospitals across the Lowcountry, doctors say they are seeing a huge impact in pregnant women. I know. News 2's Lexi Moore spoke with a doctor who says within the past few weeks, hospitals have seen a lot of unvaccinated pregnant women in the intensive care unit.
Doctors at MUSC say only 23% of pregnant women are vaccinated in the United States, putting them at high risk of getting the Delta variant. The Delta variant spiking across the country and here in South Carolina. And now we're
talking about a very serious story, but I just want to say in the chat real quick, because of the lag, y'all make me laugh so much. Snapping Ben Joni. No, I know the lyrics. We're playing acting though, interpretive dance and all that. We're gonna get serious about COVID. It's very serious, but delayed reaction in the chat. All right, and adulthood. Let me see if I can be an adult.
Country doctors are seeing the impact the virus is having on pregnant women.
They're coming in requiring oxygen, severe disease, even sometimes needing to be admitted to the ICU, intubated with a tube down their throat.
With more than 98% of people in hospitals and ICUs are those who are unvaccinated.
The Delta variant for the last 6 weeks has been horrendous for all unvaccinated people, but especially pregnant women.
Dr. Rebecca Wineland, the medical director.
So this is important to keep in mind when we tune into City Council. And yes, I will be live streaming City Council. So tomorrow you'll have the AM live stream and then the PM live stream again. So join me if you bring your snacks, your chip, your dip, all that. We're going to live stream it together. But this is important because I got to look at the agenda again, but if and when COVID or COVID restrictions or just conversations around COVID rears its head, even in the public comment period, a lot of folks are going to make these really, they're seeing, like I've been seeing a lot of reporting about the trend, like the trends are looking good. Like by Thanksgiving, we should be in a better place. Hospitalizations are going down, but there are so many other data points like this one, how COVID-19 is impacting unvaccinated mothers or pregnant women, rather, pregnant people. I think this is really, this is the data point that folks are not going to hone in on. And that's why I'm happy that at least our local news has been covering this trend. I believe the state newspaper, if not the state, Post and Courier has also included recent reporting on how this virus is impacting unvaccinated mothers. I think there was a woman who was on the brink of death that gave birth recently within the area, if not the area, the state. And so as our lawmakers who are less enthusiastic about common sense safety protocols and mandates regarding the virus and reducing the spread, as they kind of continue to take that bully pulpit, it's important to remember data points like this. I know I said a lot, but you get my gist.
Good morning, Meg. Good morning, Meg. At MUSC says pregnant women come in needing oxygen,
right, Nicole?
Leading them to being intubated and sometimes in the ICU. With some pregnant women fearing the impact of vaccinations having on their fertility and pregnancy, Dr. Wineland says the virus spreads easily and pregnant women have a greater chance of health complications.
Prior to Delta, pregnant women were getting increased risk of 15 times increased risk of death, 14 times increased risk of intubation, and 22 times risk of preterm birth.
But even for mild cases of COVID-19, doctors are seeing long-term complications for babies.
We're seeing long-term complications like preeclampsia, small babies, and preterm birth.
As the Delta variant spreads, especially amongst pregnant women, trusting the science and data is what Dr. Wineland says is the safest option for the mother and for the baby.
This vaccine is safe whether you're trying to conceive, newly pregnant, in any trimester, postpartum, or lactating.
Doctors are also encouraging pregnant women to get their flu shot this season, and once they're vaccinated, to make sure they follow all safety protocols, such as wearing their mask and social distancing. Reporting in the medical district, I'm Lexi Moore, Count on 2.
I wonder how the Unmask Our Kids faction, how they feel about the flu shot. Are they anti-flu shot too? Y'all know I've worked for Target as an executive. And while, I'd be in Target stores very, very often, primarily throughout, and so flu shots was something regular that we'd have access to. Some years I skipped it just out of laziness. I had no political point of view on the flu shot. I never had any type of severe side effects outside of maybe, injection site soreness, maybe a day of grogginess or, cold symptoms, but I don't know, just interested because I've been watching a lot of older films just for fun and seeing I was watching Cat on the Hot Tin Roof. That's one of my favorite movies / plays. What's up, new follower? What's up? Welcome to the party. And there was just a really quick scene in there about Gooper's wife and all the kids getting vaccinated, and I'm like, damn, remember when vaccines weren't political and that was something that parents just checked off a list to do like that. It's just really weird where we are right now. Especially if how polio has ravaged this country in previous, the Spanish flu. All right. Just random thinking, a random question. I wanted to get to not that, him and McMaster's bullshit, empty ass. I got you in the chat, Nicole. And him and McMaster made this really silly comment regarding mask mandate enforcement. He's coming directly for Charleston. Hey, thank you, Allie. He's coming directly for Charleston, and because Charleston, along with Columbia and whatnot, both he and Attorney General Wilson have trained to focus on these two regions of the state that are moving forward with common sense safety protocols. But this was really weird that he did this. Right here. Let me just get to it. I'm gonna have to get through an ad, I believe. Let's see. How is it muted? Usually not muted.
And if you think
I had it muted ahead of time. All right. Let's see if we can get here. 2, 1.
The school district says school resource officers are not enforcing the mask mandate. And that word came after Governor Henry McMaster sent a letter to the school board chair today saying that, among other things, I am concerned that the district's aggressive use of school resource officers may inadvertently create unhealthy, erroneous, and negative stereotypes of law enforcement officers, especially among our young children.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he said that because I believe there was a video. Let me see if there's a follow-up. That's what Ann said there. Same little 20-second clip. So there was a video he said that he saw there was a confrontation between a parent. Right, Nicole? A confrontation between a parent and an SRO. And I'm like, yeah, because that the anti-mask faction organized and mobilized not just parents, but mobilized countless Trumpian sycophants and white nationalists, mobilized them to go to schools and to create confrontations. And so, yeah, I'm sure the SRO probably had to tell somebody to pump your brakes. I haven't seen the video, so I don't want to speak too much on that interaction. But yeah, it's a rabid group of folks, and I'm gonna use that word because it's appropriate. It's a rabid group of folks out here, and I'm sure that the SROs did not tell a child to pull your mask up. That's a fake argument that's being, that's just McMaster's. It's theater. There was I'm trying to find it right now. So I want to follow up on the story from Friday. I'm still it's in the podcast this morning. I'm still upset about what took place last week. I'm still kind of confused. I leaned into that. I think I was trying to identify how I was feeling regarding Sheriff Christian Graziano and her surveillance effort aimed directly at activists like Justin Hunt, like myself, I'm sure BLM, Quadjo Campbell, and Lawmaker Wendell Gilliard. So this was a follow-up, y'all, to that story. Allie, let me see what you said in the chat. It's hilarious. School resource officers, right? Now all of a sudden care about the perception of SROs. It's so weird how they're landing in liberal spaces with this argument. Real quick before we get back to this follow-up. It's so crazy with it. My body, my choice. Now they're very anti-police and very anti-authority, but they're anti-police because they're anti-authority, not because they think that the carceral state needs reform, right? It's just really weird, and how they've adopted some of what, like I saw during Indivisible. One day we're going to talk about that. We're going to be very clear about the hits and misses of the organizing around Indivisible, those raucous town halls. Like, I had to be honest with myself. How different were those town halls from some of the stuff that we're seeing today? Now, granted, Democrats, while we would show up in mass at town halls, I was definitely there. A lot of y'all were there when, at the beginning of the Trump administration. I don't remember us being violent. I don't remember us like, let us in, or trying to, like, definitely speaking over Lindsey Graham, definitely speaking over Tim Scott, definitely speaking over Mark Sanford before he was ousted. Like, I remember that, but there's some parallels there that we got to lean in. And not a huge fan of Indivisible after working with them at both locally and facilitating some training, within the region. And having some close friends who was with that organization. Some good things came out of it, and some not so great. But you can see how the right is adopting a lot of those tactics, but taking it up a notch with the the special secret sauce, the secret herb of white nationalism, right? Let me see over here. Let me see, Nicole. I say, Nicole, you said about the flu shot earlier. I asked, is the Unmask Our Kids faction or the anti-flu shot? I think you said that they are against the flu shot as well. Yeah, and then a lot of them are homeschooling, right? I don't understand that. Joni, you said regarding SROs, and no SRO, at least in your district, don't enforce. No, they're not there to do that. They would get, please. They don't mind roughing up black kids, but they ain't gonna touch that mask stuff. Allie, you said it's okay if the SROs, exactly to my point, it's okay if the SROs search and seize your kids, but no, heaven forbid they tell your kids to wear masks, even if they did, right? Exactly. Yeah. El Cool J, can't believe you find yourself siding with SRO. Exactly. It's very weird. It's a very weird intersection. All right, let me hop back over here. So this is not a video. This is just an article. This was published, I want to say Saturday. Let me just read when it was published. Yes, Saturday. Published here. So the title of the article, South Carolina Caucus Calling on Investigation Following Report of Sheriff's Office Monitoring Posts. All right, and here is a caption of a protest here in Charleston. The South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus is calling on state authorities to investigate Charleston County Sheriff's Office following a Live 5 story involving emails showing the Sheriff's Office was monitoring social media posts of activists a day before the release of the Jamal Sutherland video. I'm outraged and deeply troubled by the report that the Charleston County Sheriff's Office labeled peaceful, law-abiding leaders of our state as security threats, said the SCLBC chair representative Patricia Hennigan. At best, the actions of the sheriff's office reveal a prejudice against these community leaders because of their willingness to advocate for fairness and justice for Black South Carolinians. Oh, come through. And therefore, for all South Carolinians. At their worst, the actions of the sheriff's office are a dangerous and unwarranted assault upon the rights of those whom they should be protecting. The sheriff's office employee Willis Walker wrote in a May 12th email. So that's who it was. They didn't put Willis Walker. I didn't see it in the copy that accompanied the video, the breaking story. Willis Walker wrote in a May 12th email to command staff at the sheriff's office the following message: the security threat analysis. This is what I read to y'all that was in tiny print. I'm glad they made the copy bigger. The security threat analysis unit is actively monitoring social media and news outlets regarding any information related to the death of Jamal Sutherland. Walker's email, which was released by Charleston County in response to a Freedom of Information Act request, includes multiple screenshots of social media posts from State Representative Wendell Gilliard and community activists such as Quadro Campbell and Justin Hunt. The social media posts by all of those included asked for the body camera footage showing Sutherland inside the jail to be released. On Saturday, Hennigan said the surveillance of Gilliard and activists demands immediate investigation by the South Carolina law. No, it don't. See, that's pump your brakes. Nope. SLED can't do it. How you gonna have dirty cops investigating dirty cops? But nah, we gotta come up with another mechanism. I don't know, Allie, if you got a suggestion, not to put you on the spot. I'm just so happy that you're here, but it can't be SLED, right? We know better than that. But I get the sentiment. I get the gist of the request. Like it warrants an investigation by an independent body, but SLED is not independent. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's crazy. So I'm glad that there has been some movement. Still waiting on Charleston Dems. I got to pack a lunch, I guess, if I'm waiting for them. I'm still waiting on Charleston Dems to say something. Say something. Please say something. And like I said, let's see right here. Like I said, I'm just gonna pop that up real quick. Like I said, during the podcast, and I said also this morning really quickly, if you listen to this podcast, this week's Mic'd Up, I've linked the copy of the demands that were created and co-written and edited by the Justice for All Coalition with the help of people like the ACLU. Shout out to Allie in the chat, who also was instrumental in a lot of our organizing and protest efforts during this time. And so this lays out what we were asking for the entire time, what we were calling for, what Quadro was calling for immediately following Jamal Sutherland's death, what I was calling for after I caught wind of Quadro's work. We were calling for transparency. We were calling for, thank you so much, Allie, or Nicole. Thank you, Nicole, for gifting a sub to Allie. That's so super dope of you. I appreciate you. But yeah, I lost my train of thought a little bit, but it's all good. But no, we lay out what we were asking for. I know what I'm saying. Okay, so when Quadro put it on my radar, you know, I think we were among some of the first. There were also community stakeholders who were not on social media advancing this effort as well, like the OGs in the Lawmaker game. And so it's just really weird. But the Justice for All Coalition outlined the issue. I feel like it's some of the strongest work I've been a part of. And it did a really fine job outlining the issue and also what our demands are. And so when we get to Tim Scott and his ass acting a fool on Face the Nation, it's just this constant effort to politicize this issue and make it partisan when we're using facts, we're using data, we're using what we have in front of us. The evidence, what we've seen with our own eyes, right? We're using this information. We're using, some of the most, informed legal minds to help us draft these demands and to have it reduced to just a slogan that we not even like. And I'm defund the police. I'm fuck the police. I'm fuck 12. I'm abolish the police state. I'm all that, right? That's me as a progressive, as someone whose values are steeped in abolition. That's the rhetoric I use, yes. But when it comes to joining this coalition and trying to craft things that can garner the support of people who might not think like me, who might not stand where I stand, it's very important to have a broad coalition where not where there's moderates involved, progressive, very bold suggestions or policy recommendations that kind of run the spectrum, if that makes sense. Making it very plain, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think we make it very plain here, right? Ali dropped some gems in the chat earlier regarding their surveillance by the Charleston County Sheriff's Office. But it's not the sheriff's office making these arrests, it's CPD. Thank you, right? Ali, you went on to say, and CPD definitely monitors social media posts, of course. Yep. You need a third party oversight, right? And we need people watching the cops. Watch the watchers. Noah, you dropped something in the chat. Officers were punished upon investigation, but not being invasive no more at 5. I got you. Yeah. The importance of a community oversight is critically important, Noah. Absolutely. So you said that we spoke about the importance of a community-run group that potentially have subpoena power. Right. You need something with some teeth. I forgot which city in Texas. I want to say it was somewhere in Houston, or maybe not the city of Houston, but the area. They were able to create some sort of community oversight panel or community oversight body that actually had some teeth. So not just subpoena power, but power over power to negotiate these police salaries and pensions, which I know that's like almost impossible to think of, especially with Tim Scott at the helm of a lot of these conversations. But when you start holding cops accountable, like if you take the life of someone, if you you shouldn't be taking lives. You shouldn't be holding court out in the streets with a gun. If you take the life of a person unjustly, you should have to pay, you and your police department and your peers should have to pay a price. And it should look like, your budget's being attacked and whatnot. Ali, you said problem with community oversight is that they stack it with plans. Absolutely. Thank you, Ali. That's the other part as well. But so like there's some movement, and I think I queued up a clip from, I didn't even go over to these papers. I queued up a clip from some other areas that are approaching, because we're gonna just get into it. I'm not even gonna do the roundup. We're gonna just get into what we saw this weekend. Hold on, let me see if there's one more thing. Dorchester District 2. I know Jessica's not here yet this morning. A lot of movement going on with Dorchester District 2. This is a story about a teacher resigning. We're not going to get to that today. And also, I know that there's going to be another meeting that's contentious. This is the story right here. Minneapolis to vote on defund the police. Again, probably misleading. But and that's intentional. So let's just watch Timmy. This was and we're gonna spend some time here, y'all. We're gonna spend, this is a 13-minute clip. We're gonna spend some time here.
We go now to Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
What happened? This country was supposed to be at a moment of reckoning at the relationship between police and the Black community. Why did you miss?
Hold on. Before we get into these empty words from Tim Scott, first of all, let me see shoe cam. I'm run that back. I thought I saw something. I thought my eye caught something. If I do it for Nancy, I gotta do it for Timmy. See some shoe cam. Oh, let me stretch out. Okay. Oh God, I lost. Let me see. So this is what I wanted to say too. So beyond the coalitions like the ones that we were a part of, that was led and helped by the ACLU and a lot of other folks. I think when it comes down to it, y'all, you can't get me off this hill. You have to be engaged in your local politics. You have to be engaged civically with your local government. You have to be able to constantly, you have to use letters to the editor. You have to know your neighbors. You have to push your elected officials, your council people, to do more and to have more meetups about issues. The pressure or the changes come at the local level, and then you can start to create a culture around what's been normalized. I'm not saying get in there and convince Republican Patricia down the street that defund the police. No, it's literally like, hey, I'm really troubled by, the police coming and doing X. Did you see last week? Did you see that story? There is a part of us now. I don't talk to white supremacists. I don't talk to people who are curious to hear what the Proud Boys have to say at a school board meeting. I don't have time for that, right? And it's just a waste of my time. But there is something to be said about meeting your neighbors and just having conversations with people who are equally invested in the community. I use Wadmalaw, where my parents reside. That's and where I lived up until fairly recently. I used that as an example when I relocated and I saw that Wadmalaw is gentrifying. Wadmalaw is gentrifying. But when I participated in the trash pickup that was orchestrated or led by the community, when I started to pour over the community newsletter, I realized that there were a lot of conservative folks here that probably didn't see a lot of topics the way I did. But when I started listening to my neighbors and putting the politics aside for a second and just asking them questions, where you from? Oh, what brought you to Wadmalaw? Oh, my name is this and that. Like, when you start to have these conversations, you'll learn, like with the rezoning issue, there were common ground. Like when we got that hoity-toity bullshit ass treehouse couple to kind of shut down, even though they had tremendous wealth behind them, we were organized and we were so we were unified, and we showed up not just at county council, but we showed up at the Wadmalaw Community Center. We showed up, we asked each other questions. The Facebook shit got out of hand. I hate Facebook because Facebook just creates that thing where people pop off, and there was some harassment that I definitely didn't take part in and that I thought was just over the top. People were just stalking that couple. I felt like if we just were organized and kept showing up in person and coming up with a strategy, I thought that was sufficient. But some people took it to another level, made it really personal. But for the most part, people who I know, who don't have a Black liberation analysis, they were able to understand the importance of keeping Wadmalaw rural, keeping Wadmalaw. They were interested. A lot of folks, a lot of neighbors were interested in making sure that Wadmalaw remained Wadmalaw. And so I say all that to say, I know that if you can talk to your neighbors, and if you can have conversations and participate and rub shoulders, you can get a lot done. You can start changing the culture, right? And as radical as I am and all that, y'all, at some point, there has to be these conversations that take place between you and your neighbors, and you have to be able to make a compelling argument without the politics. Now transition to this bullshit. We've got local leaders, we've got state leaders, we've got senators who are heavily invested in deepening the political divide. And like I said earlier, Tim Scott was unable to do more than just hit his marks. He wasn't able to be a gangster with rhythm. He's a rhythmless gangster here. His mask slips a couple of times. And shout out to the OG, not the OG. Shout out to the MVP right here, Margaret Brennan. This is how you interview Charleston News Corps media. This is how you interview somebody. Now, granted, it's a different realm, but can we get some follow-up questions? It can't just be Fernando out here asking follow-ups. All right, so let's check out this clip and let's check out a shoe cam real quick.
We go now to Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
What happened? This country was supposed to be at a moment.
I don't know what's going on here, Tim. Shoes and socks and shoes. It don't even match your tie.
Of reckoning at the relationship between police and the Black community. Why did you miss the moment?
I'm not sure why they missed the moment. I've been at this table twice already. They've walked away twice. They did this a year ago, and
that's like the boyfriend that's like, I'm not yelling, but he's clearly like, you ever have an argument with a partner and they think because they're being calm during something like really emotional, during an emotionally charged conversation, they think because they're being calm, but maybe obstinate or calm and very stubborn or calm and dismissive, they think that they're not, that means that they've got the higher ground on the conversation. Tim Scott does this throughout this interview. I know I need to let this shit play because it's already 13 minutes long, but Tim Scott keeps going on. What's up, Honor Marks? Tim Scott just keeps blaming, like, I'm not the one. I'm not yelling. You're yelling. Like, dude, calm down. You don't have the high ground here.
Doing it again now.
You're blaming Democrats.
I
for
can't.
the failure of police reform.
I can't understand. Well, we should ask ourselves, how did we get here at all? It's the big blue cities where they have failed to pass policies that protect their most vulnerable communities. Think about Minneapolis, Los Angeles, Cleveland, Portland, Seattle. This problem came to the federal government because of the failure
They're actually moving
of
forward.
blue mayors and liberal city council members for us to get here. So what we've decided to do was to stay at the table and look for common ground. We found common ground. We found common ground on military equipment. We found common ground on chokeholds. We found common ground on providing PTSD assistance and mental health and co-responders. We found common ground on a number of areas.
Thank you.
Instead of moving forward on the areas where we were in agreement, they just simply walked away.
But you just detailed all those points of agreement.
Yes.
Senator Cory Booker, who was your partner in this.
Yes.
I mean, this started under the Trump administration. It continued under the Biden administration.
Right.
Exactly.
Come on.
When Republicans in control went nowhere, Democrats in control. It's going nowhere.
Right.
But both times, the folks that left the table were the Democrats.
Yes,
Let's just be clear that we have stayed at the table. The Justice Act provided clear direction to improve the quality of the experience for the communities at risk and the law enforcement officers who patrol those areas.
Real talk. This is not presidential. Like I said earlier, for those who just came to the chat, welcome to the Twitch stream. Again, hitting your marks is not enough. You hear him blaming blue mayors. You hear him listing those cities that are that are at the top of mind of a lot of Trump sycophants, right? You know, Seattle, Minneapolis, naming all these blue cities, furthering that, again, deepening that divide, right? And then you're doing it, Tim, but there's no charisma. There's no oomph. And I know that might sound superficial, but this was the point. Like, he's on a little bit he's on defense a little bit as well, right? Because Cory, no doubt, we're going to get to some real quick because we want to make this about local lawmakers. But I believe Cory Booker did defend himself or defend his stance, and so did Karen Bass. But the point is to get out ahead of the story. That's why he's on Face the Nation. That's why they advertise this throughout the week. And him showing up, I don't think, I'm not getting presidential. I'm not getting strength. I'm saying everything you told me to say. And I think this is just, to me, I know why they chose Tim Scott to be the unofficial, official leader of the new wave of the GOP, because he's a black man. I talked about that at length way before he even gave his rebuttal to Joe Biden's address. Black conservative men, black Republicans, black MAGA men are going to be in vogue. We're seeing that in Georgia. We're seeing that around we saw it with Larry Elder in California. That's the new flavor of the month. They're signing up. Larry Elder, Herschel Walker, Tim Scott are signing up to be tokens, but they're not impressive. Larry Elder was mollywop. He got his ass handed to him. Herschel Walker, bro, hang it up. All I want to do is talk. Hang it up. You and your son can go have several seats. They're not impressive, polished, and I fear for the day that Tim Scott 2.0 rears its head, because Tim Scott 2.0 is gonna be a gangster with rhythm. It's gonna be like an Obama, like charismatic, right wing candidate. It's gonna be like Obama-esque, but just touting bullshit ass policies and whatnot. I know you're just saying, Tamika, stop deepening and divide yourself. This is a partisan show, goddammit.
If you're still at the table, was the issue that you just couldn't deliver Republican
Stop with
votes
the table.
Absolutely not.
What Senator Booker proposed to you with what he has described as a compromise?
Once again,
Jessica?
The fact is that last time around, we gave them 20 amendments to change the bill in any way they wanted to. This time, we said simply this: I am not going to participate in reducing funding for the police after we saw major city after major city.
So he's trying to slip and defund
the police.
He's trying to slip and defund the police.
Many provisions in this bill
Cory
that he
Booker
wanted me to
not
agree
defund.
to limited or reduced funding for the police. That's a lose.
What?
That's a
Listen.
lose. that's a lose-lose proposition. When you reduce funding for police,
you actually
lose lives in the communities. Our approach was a win-win
so skillful,
approach.
Though.
We want the best wearing the badge, and we want the vulnerable protected. So when you tie funding losses in this legislation, you should expect an allergic reaction from me.
Oh, we got an allergic reaction.
They would say, and Senator Booker's team has said publicly in interviews he's done, that there wasn't a net loss of funding. In fact, there was funding being increased in terms of increased mental health funding specifically. That there were specific programs for recruitment and training funding increases.
I'm distracted by the Sharpie too.
Funding increases.
Why you got a Sharpie?
So that's not cutting funding. It's might be allocating it in different ways.
Right.
Actually, here's what we know. We have about $1 billion in grant money.
Let me rewind that, because you're right. The Sharpie got me too. I was trying not to be too childish. I already got them on the socks, the green socks with the red tie, the neon green socks. But like she just said, right? It's not a reduction in spending. And this is why this reform progressives ain't even like all up. We don't give, this reform is all theater, y'all. I know I keep saying that phrase, but like progressives ain't enthused about this type of reformation. This was already an empty promise before the word go. And so, because what it does, and a lot of the reforms that center the police, that put the police in the conversation, you can't do police reform with the police. You can hate me for that, but I don't believe you can bring about real reform. And fuck reform. I'm an abolitionist, but you can't do reform centering the police. You can't hold them accountable. You can't have them craft the legislation. You can't center their interests to, especially not to this degree. And to that point, what Cory Booker and Karen Bass and others were agreeing to was, okay, we're not going to defund shit. We're going to move funds over here so cops can do more of these things that they shouldn't be doing, right? And so that's why I have a problem with it. Is it better than what we had before? I don't think so. I mean, maybe it's diet reform, it's diet change. I don't know. Sugar-free reform. I don't know. It's same great taste, less filling. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's so disingenuous of Tim Scott to act as if it's defund the police. It's literally not. It's literally allocating more resources, giving the cops more resources. It's not defunding the police. And she got him on that. So when he said, oh, I have an allergic reaction, bitch, take some Benadryl.
Recruitment and training funding increases, body-worn camera funding increases, data collection. So that's not cutting funding. It's might be allocating it in different ways.
Actually, here's what we know. We have about $1 billion in grant money that goes to police. When you start saying in order to receive those dollars, you must do A, B, and C. And if you don't do A, B, and C, you literally lose eligibility for the two major pots of money, the burn grants and the cop grants.
It's not unconditional.
Local law
it should be conditions. That there's conditions to the money.
Eligible for money. That's defunding the police.
No,
there's no
it's
way
not.
to spend that.
Listen,
you can spend it by saying.
But this would codify the Trump executive order.
Exactly. It would codify the Trump executive order.
I actually agreed to. What I did not agree to was the cuts.
He's being
that
rude
come
too,
from
if you be honest.
When you say once
combative.
again that in order for you to receive the money for the burn grants or the cop grants, you must do the following. And if you don't do the following, you lose money. That's more defunding the police. We saw that tried throughout the country.
You wouldn't want to cut funding for underperformance, is what you're saying?
Right.
Not at all. I would say
you would want to increase to police departments that aren't
doing
what they're supposed to be
saying. There has to be conditions. There has to be conditions.
What the Democrats asked for was a simple thing. They asked for more reporting on serious bodily injury to death. I said that's a great idea. When they wanted to nationalize local policing, I said that's a bad idea. When they say that every single traffic stop in this country must be reported to the federal government, whether it's a traffic ticket or stopping someone on the streets of New York or Charleston, every single time that you have any interaction for the federal government to be in charge of all that information, I say let's do it. But let's do it voluntarily. Let's not punish local law enforcement by not having complied to that one.
Accountability is not a punishment. Accountability is not why would you give the police unconditional support if they are underperforming, which means you're killing people out here unjustly? You should have your funds. You should be at least reorganizing some fucking money, something. So you get to just kill with impunity. You get to just stop people, stop black people disproportionate, like Chick-fil-A Chief Reynolds here in Charleston. You get to do that with impunity? Like, dude, and his mask drop, like, she's coming in, and I get it. He is being, if this was, let me compare it to another sport. If this was fencing, he's doing okay, right? Not too flat-footed. He's very aggressive, but that aggression is going to be a liability. He comes off very combative, very defensive in the next few minutes. Let me see the chat real quick. Let me see the chat, because y'all are making me, y'all are hitting it on the head, right? It is infuriating, Allie. To your point, it is, right? You came ready for this, Jessica. Good morning. What's in your cup? This just in, you said, so you're going to give them a blank check, like I was just saying, right? A blank check, no matter what they do, right? Blood pressure going up, Nicole. Deep breaths. Think about his socks from Steinmart. Think about his socks from Steinmart. You know what I mean? All right. Not enthused at all. Thank you, Justin. I know me and you on the same boat. We on the same page, not the boat. Same page. That's right. You don't get $1 billion for being problematic. Thank you, Jessica. Anna Marks, you wrote in the chat, you know he'd be there for the data. You heard that, right? The data collection. So you get more money for bullshit body cams, which they may or may not turn on or turn over the camera footage from the body cams. They get more funding for data collection. You know he want that, Mr. School privatization and all that other bullshit, right? National database for traffic stops. Right? And you hear the bullshit that the Dems is on board with. I'm like, damn, Dems, y'all horrible. It's horrible. Allie, you just dropped in the chat, why the hell would we want to report every stop and arrest to the federal government so we can monitor low-income minority communities? We already got a gathering center over at Gadsden back to Green. Same thing. Exactly that. This just in, the last comment, he's advocating for giving a blank check to a militarized force, absolutely, that sees its citizens as the enemy with no accountability. Yep, Rise of the Warrior Cop is right now in rotation. I'm reading 4 books at one time, and that's one of them. And then El Kuj, you said that why aren't lawmakers and media pointing out the police without accountability is moving towards a state police authoritarianism? This is the scary part, El Kuj. It's going to be the radical right that actually point that out. It's going to be, I'm not trying to go crazy, but it's going to be like, just hear me out. It's going to be that argument that the, is it Clive and Bundy? Ruby Ridge, like, oh, we're anti-government, anti-police. They're the ones that are going to make that argument. You heard Bear Spray Bessinger, Tyler Bear Spray Bessinger, when he sat down with Carolyn Murray to talk about the 1-year retrospect after the George Floyd protests. He even said it. He says that, I agree. I'm against the police, and he's not in agreement with what we're talking about. We're abolitionists. We're not, hey, let's start our own police via a militia. Lightfoot militia. That's not what we're trying to do, right? Right? We're not trying to perpetuate white supremacy, but the far radical right have already been anti-police. And so you're going to get a lot of this militia activity that's going to ratchet up. And that's why you saw the Boogaloo Boys at protests in Charleston. That's why you saw the alt-right and the Proud Boys and that, the Boogaloo Boys run a spectrum, but they not your friend. But that's why you saw them in Columbia and here in Charleston intermingling with the anti-police rhetoric. And that's why those organizers, some of them, like especially in Columbia, did not do a good job making sure that faction was separate. No one really articulated that, hey, there's a faction here, and that's something I identified in real time. But that's going to be the argument. Allie, this last comment, and I'm gonna let this clip continue to play. The small government push from the right. Yep, small government, anti-police, anti-authority, pro-militia, pro-gun, and I got a right to show up with an AK-47 or whatever it is at a city council meeting. All that bullshit.
The Fraternal Order of Police.
Especially with McMaster coming out talking about SROs enforcing mask mandates. If you don't think that that's ratcheting up violence or that's ratcheting up the potential for violence, he gave credence and credibility to a non-issue. He took an isolated incident and made it a broader issue. So now they got their soundbite. So you got a sitting governor here, South Carolina's governor, literally giving credibility to an argument that's not real. If there was a skirmish between an SRO and a protester, that's what it was. It wasn't the police enforcing the mask mandate. You hear what I'm saying? So that far right, McMaster is all about, throwing chum in the water, so to speak. And shame on him for doing that, giving credibility to that faction. And he's going to learn like Mitch McConnell, if he hasn't learned already. You can't control these people. Frankenstein, you're not going to be able to control this Frankenstein that you're enabling. And Tim Scott, he doesn't get it. Watch the mask slip, y'all.
Endorse this.
Well, the Fraternal Order of Police did not endorse the bill in its current form.
Well, Senator Booker says that they have come out and supported it.
You're just going to read the emails and tell who's.
So the Fraternal Order of Police supported legislation, which is a bad sign, but.
You repeatedly have said, because look, I mean, people at home watching this say this was a moment that was missed.
You failed, Tim. Corey failed. Karen failed.
Because of that.
You all failed.
This just looks like it's playing politics again.
I think they're playing politics. You're right.
What about Republicans here? Because I know you're saying you're at the table. You're at the table, but when you're coming back to defunding the police, which was a very effective political line.
It's actually parts of their legislation.
No, it's not.
Margaret, if we're going to be fair to the American people to get the whole story,
let me just finish
you
my
have to allow me to have a conversation about the issue that I've been working on for the last 2 years. I'm going to give you the answer to the defunding the police.
But isn't this just Republicans not wanting to look like they are being soft on crime ahead of the 2020 elections?
That's the answer to the question. No.
Was that part of your calculation at all?
Not at all. Why would I be at a table? I'm the person who has lived in the communities that we're talking about.
No. So is Corey, dummy. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you got a monopoly on black experiences with cops. Get out of here. You don't even. I grew up in Tenton Falls. It was no inner city in this motherfucker. I grew up in Tenton Falls. We had run-ins with the police. Cut it out. You black in America, you're going to have a situation. You're going to have a reference point. Cut it out. But he getting worked up, y'all. He getting worked up. Them Steinmart shoes is getting tight.
Person who's experienced the challenges that we are trying to solve. I'm the person
Let her
who
talk,
understands
Nicole.
and appreciates this issue intimately. I'm not having an academic conversation about something I know very little about.
So
you said, let me finish. I understand this issue better than most people. And I will tell you this, that if you want to keep our communities safe, you have to properly fund the police. If you say to the police,
no one is defunding the police.
I'm going to reduce your funding if you don't allow us to nationalize this conversation and nationalize local police, you lose funding. That is something I won't agree to. You want to nationalize other shit? Local police should be local issues.
Look at them socks.
We can do a better job by providing more resources, not by taking away resources.
So I just want to make sure to button this up.
Certainly.
The issue that for you sunk all of this had to do with funding related to data collection about traffic stops at the national level?
Absolutely. You asked me for specificity. I gave you an example. There are eight or nine issues, 8 or 9 parts of the bill.
See, not only is her follow-up questions and her pushback on point, super on point, the framing of it, she gets it. Don't come to me with no fucking talking points because I've already read this thing through and through. I've already prepared for this motherfucking interview, Tim. So and also what you just heard was Tim was the lone lead Republican on this. He sunk this. So what is he doing? He's going to face the nation and saying, no, the Democrat, I'm at the table. They had to get up from the table, Tim, because you would not budge on very basic shit. And that was your plan from the jump. Was to scuttle this conversation, to scuttle this legislation. So don't act like you came in good faith. You did not. They're giving you any progressives, any leftists watching this, y'all hear this shit? Democrats are literally asking for more money to go to the police for more body cams, more data collection, a federal database, like all this heinous shit that I would not agree with. I would not vote for that shit. It sounds like if this was a Republican-led initiative, it probably wouldn't look that different. It probably wouldn't look that different, right? And so the fact that Tim Scott, as the lone lead Republican on these in this conversation, is keep saying, "Oh, I'm at the table." Yeah, they're gonna leave your bullshit ass table, Tim, because you won't budge on something very basic. Like, I'm not even trying to stick up for the Dems. I'm just trying to They literally were trying to get the most weak-ass Reformation shit passed through, and you wouldn't even budge on this. And I love how she said that. She says, because, your key point, Because you sunk it. She used the word sunk. You sunk these talks because of what? Asking him to clarify. Why did you sink these talks? He's trying to say, no, the Democrats did it. Nah, you did it, Tim. You did it. Right?
Where the answer the Democrats put on the table was reducing the funding to the police. When you have one issue, we can work that out.
He keeps saying the same empty,
different areas
incorrect
of the
talking point.
That reduces funding.
This is ridiculous.
That's a different conversation. Now you're talking about defunding the police. You may not like that as a statement, but it's actually what you can read in the language of the bill.
No, it's not.
Okay, we'll leave it there. But Senator Booker has said on MSNBC.
Well, all you have to do is actually read the areas of the bill that actually reduce the funding.
Okay.
That's available.
So obviously that's a big point of disagreement between the two of you and the interpretation.
Only if you can't read.
Are you saying Senator Booker can't read?
I'm only saying that if you read the legislation, it's pretty simple.
Good job, Margaret.
This is not something that I'm making up and we can debate our facts.
It almost was insinuating that she couldn't fucking read. Did you peep that first? If you read, she's not the one with a Sharpie, okay? You Xing out shit with that. Literally, he was insinuating that she didn't read. Again, the mask slip. He should have backed up when he saw himself being too defensive. Sometimes the best defense is a good offensive strategy, right? Sometimes you rope-a-dope. I'm gonna take all the punches. I'm gonna let you wear yourself out, and then I'm gonna come and get at you. Can't do rope-a-dope, can't do shit. And this is not presidential, Timmy. It's not. Not with them socks and them shoes from Steinmart. It's not.
We can actually say in several different areas of the bill, it reduces funding.
I want to ask you about other happenings or lack of happenings on Capitol Hill.
Okay.
The White House has said it is preparing for a partial government shutdown, just planning at this point, as soon as October 1st if Congress doesn't act. You and your fellow Senate Republicans are expected to block this attempt by Democrats to both fund the government and increase the debt ceiling, which
I ain't got the Constitution. I can't. I'm gonna invite you to watch the rest of this. I believe I included the full link to this 13-minute interview. It's in the show notes of the podcast that came out this morning. I ain't got the stomach to just go on to how more obstructionist bullshit ass. It's just in the spirit of Calhoun. It's just right there in the spirit of Calhoun. Let me actually, I didn't even think I was going to do this. And I put this in a reel a long time ago. Democracy Now, Calhoun. Let me see, not the statue. Let me see. Because what he's doing is right in line with stop playing with me. Let me see, obstruction. I might just, if I could play reels from the PC, I would play it. But it was an academic a while ago on Democracy Now, and outlining what this obstructionist type of stance that he's engaging in. What the hell? That's wild. I'm gonna find it. Hold on a second. You're not gonna play me. Obstruction. Let me see. Oh yeah. It was about the filibuster. Yeah. Sorry, not donating right now. Yep, that's what it was. Let me go back. And this is exactly why we are where we are. Ooh. Regarding nothing getting passed, do nothing. Here we go right here in the filibuster. So this is from 8 months ago. And you would think, what does the filibuster have to do with John C. Calhoun? So this dude breaks it down real quick. Let me try to skip to it. And y'all should go back and find this clip. I probably passed right by it. I'm looking for a picture of Calhoun. Bear with me, y'all.
Unequal body in the U.S. federal government. Explain why and how that impacts everything from reconciliation to the filibuster.
That's right, and thanks for having me here. It's great to join you today. So, the Senate was created to provide a counterbalance to the House, which was supposed to be, the House was supposed to be sort of the direct body that represented the people. And the Senate was always designed to provide sort of an elite counterweight. And it was designed to be a little bit anti-democratic.
Right.
In its inception, in the House, apportionment is determined by population. So every district is about the same size, and every state has about the same number of House members proportional to their population. So the bigger states have a lot more representatives. California has many more representatives in the House than, say, Wyoming, which has one representative. In the Senate, every state gets equal representation. So Wyoming has 2 senators, and California has 2 senators. California's population is about 39 million people. Wyoming's population is about 600,000 people. So by that proportionate representation, it actually creates a disproportionate voting power. So every citizen in Wyoming has many more times the voting power than a citizen in California. This was something that the framers were aware of when they created it, but some of them decried it at the time and said this is a big problem. Madison, who's often cited as the chief framer and constructor of the Senate, actually strongly opposed
I didn't sign up for
this kind of equal representation. And when I say equal, I mean the same number of senators. The way it plays out is actually, dramatically unequal representation for the actual voters. Madison at the time said that it would be a great source of, he used the word injustice, to give states equal representation. At the time that he called this an injustice, the biggest state was Virginia, and it was about 10 times as big as the smallest state, Delaware. Madison was right that it creates an injustice, but that injustice is several orders of magnitude bigger now than at the time. Virginia was 10 times the size of Delaware in 1789. Today, California is about 70 times the size of Wyoming. So it is an unequal body.
70 times the size. And for people who listen to this globally, each of them, because they're each a state, have 2 senators, have equal representation in the Senate.
That's right. And because the way this plays out is that what that translates to is not just disproportionate representation geographically, but disproportionate representation in terms of racial, ethnic, minority voting power. California obviously is an incredibly diverse state. Wyoming is an incredibly monolithic state demographically, but Wyoming has equal voting power to California, and this continues throughout. If you go down the chamber, because the
all right, I know y'all be like, I know. I wanted to get to it. It's in there. I'm probably really close. I'm trying to save it from my account and then just send it to myself. But I thought it was really important because when you see these conversations take place with Tim Scott, you understand what game is really being played. It's not just partisan politics. That's not the game being played. Hold on a second. I'm turn this down. Save the camera roll. Hold on. Bear with me. It's not just what you're seeing on its face. It's a little deeper than that. But I am going to transition to, as I send it to myself, I'm going to transition to the other clips that we need to be focusing in on. I got off a little bit on a tangent. We close that out. I'm going to close out the copy of our demands. Okay, go back to history. Thank you for bearing with me. I think it's important to understand what we're watching when we're watching it, and what Tim Scott was doing. He had no intentions of actually, moving forward with reform, and the obstruction because they're not in power, and because the Republicans aren't in power. This is the game they have. This is the only bit of leverage they have. And so it's really, really political. I wanted to also push back on what Tim Scott said before we get to Nancy Mace and Lindsey Graham. and their shenanigans. Push back on what Tim Scott said about these failing blue cities. And I want to admit that I have not spent an inordinate amount of time like looking at each bit of legislation, but I want to lift up what's going on in Evanston, Illinois. I want to lift up what's going on, what the Brooklyn Center, Minneapolis, efforts in Columbus, Ohio. And let's play this clip here. This is Minneapolis here.
Activist movement that popularized the Defund the Police slogan. This November, voters will decide whether to adopt a new amendment to replace the Minneapolis Police Department with a Department of Public Safety.
And this is what we haven't done effectively here as well around the Jamal Sutherland issue, specifically the Democrats here, our Democratic leadership. I don't know if it bothered anyone else. I don't just criticize the Democrats for sport. It's not fun, right? As someone who's voted Democratic almost my entire adult voting life, right? I've coalesced around Democratic values, Democratic issues. I spent an inordinate amount of time interviewing and platforming candidates around the state as the leader of Women's March, as an activist and organizer in general. It's deeply disappointing to see a party continue to use Black women and pander to us and pander to the base, the entire base, and then turn around and not support legislation that reflects our values and it reflects what we're actually calling for. And so even hearing how or witnessing how the Democratic establishment, they would show up and be present at, let's say, a Christian Graziano. This is no shade to any individual. I love y'all. Y'all know I love you. Y'all know who I love. Y'all know I bang with you heavy. But you would show up though to a press conference by Graziano, but no one made sure to flank Graziano with leadership. No one made sure to issue, to continue to make statements regarding the Jamal Sutherland issue. No one from this state really jumped out, outside of a couple of lawmakers who came to the rallies and the protests. Now this is the shade for the photo op. And some of y'all took advantage of the photo op and took it a little bit further. But beyond that, there really wasn't a large Democratic response to what happened. And to me, it was a huge loss, because you could have held Al Cannon and his policies accountable, and you could have used that, you could have leveraged it. And again, I know for some folks are saying, well, Mika, you oftentimes refer to Mother Emanuel and Walter Scott's murder and the Jamal Sutherland murder. You refer to those things almost in a purely political way. I'm not trying to just make this about winning points, but y'all, when these moments happen, we have to make sure that they don't happen and continue to happen. How do we do that? You have to frame a political argument. And what our Dems don't do is they don't go out with a robust response and argue that, hey, you know what, there's another way. They just don't do it. And so other cities have at least attempted to grassroots organize. I'm gonna lift up Evanston, Illinois again, because yes, I got fam out there. I got comrades out there for sure. But there are cities who are grassroots led, really leading the charge, because these Democrats will not save us, y'all. These Republicans will not save us. This whole two-party bullshit is just a rigged game, and I'll get back to it when I found the clip and I've downloaded it and sent it to myself, and I'll play to you the clip, because I really want you to understand what game we're playing. It's not what they're putting on Face the Nation and Meet the Press. Play just a little bit of this, not too much.
As Politico reports, it is the first ballot test of a big city police department overhaul in advance of the midterm elections. With violent crime rising across the country, it's also a gauge of just how much political capital defund movement activists have left. Minneapolis's incumbent mayor Jacob.
And shame on. I'm gonna stop it there. Shame on the press for continuing to call it defund. Shame on the press, because this is a public safety issue, and I would say that the grassroots organized on the ground have made that point quite clear. But people like Tim Scott and some of this corporatized media bullshit continues to call it that. And the reason why, like I said, like I'm pro, the slogan doesn't bother me because I know what the slogan really means. But it bothers me because you know that politically, again, putting the operative hat on, y'all, you can't, defund is too polarizing. And I'm not, this is not Clyburn speak. I'm just saying they've already pivoted away from that slogan, and yet you keep calling it that. And so it distracts away from the tenets of the argument, right? Reallocating the police doesn't have the same ring, no, but making this a public safety and a resource conversation is where we need to be. It just pisses me off. They keep doing that, and so they're just as bad as some of this propagandistic bullshit on Fox News. All right, I want to play the reels. I know it starts off with, I think, me jabbing at Joe Biden for eulogizing a racist ass Strom Thurmond, but we gonna hit it up. Let me see if I can. Is it gonna be okay?
The filibuster is racist as hell.
Okay, this is the real, y'all. That's why I look like a hostage trying to say stuff real quick. But I think I look cute in this picture in the dark in my apartment.
Pioneered and perfected by two of SC's faves.
A Northeast liberal's presence here is the only outsider speaking today. Strom Thurmond.
I ain't gonna let Joe finish eulogizing his old racist buddy Strom, but he's one. The other?
John C. Calhoun came along, the great nullifier, senator from South Carolina, and he innovated some of the tactics that became known as the modern filibuster.
Okay, right? So that was part one. And then I did a part two, right? The great nullifier. And and this is important because this is all that, look, let me tell you something. We saw the census data, right? We understand that the Republicans are losing a lot of its influence, right? They are literally controlling states where they are in the minority, but they're doing it using these archaic tools that still have tremendous power. And so it's important to understand the tools and tactics they're using. This very vocal minority, this very powerful minority is using to to maintain power. That's why it pisses me off to no end to see a mansion in a cinema. They understand quite thoroughly. They understand what's at risk by ending the filibuster, but they also are playing fast and loose with our democracy in making sure that these folks stay in power by using this obstructionist type of tactics, if that makes any sense.
Okay, a real quick part two. I want you to hear more from Adam Gentleson about
glow or shine.
Calhoun and the filibuster.
And he did it for the express purpose of increasing the power of the slaveholding class.
Okay, bonus round. Extra points to those who head to the link in my bio to read more about Calhoun and the origins of obstructionist politics and the filibuster from this article written by Jamel Bowie. The link in the bio.
So what I was trying to illustrate by showing that during this live stream was that the obstructionist politics, they transcend just the filibuster as a tool, but that's what you see Tim Scott doing as well. And like you heard Margaret, we stopped it at the point where they were going to talk about how he was going to scuttle even more legislation. So he scuttled the talks around police reform, and he was going to go on and scuttle upcoming talks around, the filibuster, everything, immigration, everything. Nothing's going to be enough. That's why you see the votes going down party lines, and he can't afford to vote with it. Tim Scott is, yes, running for re-election. He'll win that. He'll win that handily. It's just the facts, right? Shout out to the women running against Tim Scott here. Do the best you can with your campaign, but he's going to win handily. It's just too much money and too much influence and power. But he's also getting ready for the 2024 run. I don't know if he'll be able to beat out a DeSantis. I don't know if there'll be a more charismatic leader that white folks will coalesce around. Especially, and also too, the midterms I think will be something to watch, especially Georgia's race, as Warnock tries to hold on to his seat and I guess stave off Herschel Walker, but more so win his race. How well does he win his race? How well does he organize folks? But if you see one of these black male conservatives become more successful, I think Larry Elder was the best shot. I think Larry Elder trying to do that shit in California was a miss. He should have pulled a Herschel Walker and came up with another address somewhere that he, because that didn't make any sense. But you're gonna get someone like that who is going to pose a challenge. I think if we see a black candidate, conservative candidate, come out of the midterm somewhere successful, I think that bodes well for Tim Scott. What happens in Georgia is gonna help with that as well. What we see coming out of Georgia, but we'll see. But he cannot vote with the Democrats. He cannot. He will not. And that's putting party over people. That's a cliche, but that's literally what's happening. And so he will not ever support any of that legislation. All right, let's go to. I think the quickest thing to go to is Lindsey Graham getting dunked on by Trump. Hold on. Yeah, we're going to rewind this. And just a little bit. You know how CNN kind of leaves it on thick.
Former President Trump now taking aim at two former Republican allies in the U.S. Senate who refused to back the big lie, according to a new book. Bob Woodward and Robert Costa write in the book Peril that Senators Mike Lee and Lindsey Graham investigated Trump's claims of fraud in the 2020 election and found they added up to nothing. Here's part of a new statement from Trump. It says, quote, I spent virtually no time with Senators Mike Lee of Utah or Lindsey Graham of South Carolina talking about the 2020 presidential election scam, or as it is viewed by many, the crime of the century. Lindsey and Mike should be ashamed of themselves for not putting up the fight necessary to win. Joining us now,
we have easy to laugh at Trump. But I am incensed that this man became a president. I am incensed. Like the lies and the harebrained schemes and especially after the insurrection, when I tell you the way that he would after Charlottesville, find people on both sides, but after seeing your fucking rabid ass followers literally try to lynch lynch politicians, lynch our government officials for not voting the way you'd like to, or not being able to do something they couldn't do. Mike Pence couldn't do shit. Like, literally go out there and says, I love you, you're great people, but you gotta go home now. You gotta go home. Party's over. It really sends me over the edge. So I wanted to play this quick clip too. Oh wait, no I don't. I don't want to do Morning Joe. I'll throw up if I play Morning Joe. That was one more clip. That was one more. More so it was an article. That's what it was. Oh my gosh, let me see. Oh, right here. Let me see, is this it? No, and this is like the way that Yahoo News aggregates like crazy ass shit like the Washington Examiner is interesting. But this is all about how the infrastructure bill is going to probably be scuttled by they're going to try to scuttle it. Jam it up. Let me use some other words. Hold on, I'm trying to find the search I did for Lindsey Graham. Because then he came back out. Oh yeah. Then he came back out.
Bob, the roles of Lindsey Graham and Mark Meadows
More
here,
from this book.
At times it looked like they were sort of enabling President Trump's wishes on this election, and at times they seem to want to steer him away from this. Is that the case? How would you characterize their roles?
Well, there's a lot of ambivalence here, but we quote conversations between Senator Graham and Trump in which Lindsey Graham said to Trump, you effed up your presidency at one point, just a couple of months ago. And Trump hung up on him and then called him back a day later. And Lindsey Graham said to him,
such a toxic relationship. And this is, again, I wanted to include this in the roundup because this is our this is our state leadership. This is one of our senators. And the fact, and I guess he's doing the dirty work that Tim won't. There's a way they're divvying up things here in the state, right? for the most part, not all the way. They're doing their own thing, but there is some sort of cooperation going on. So Tim is not going to do this. He's going to do his bowing and scraping in regards to Trump is going to look a little different. It's going to look like what you just saw on Face the Nation. It's going to look like hitting all the rhetoric, hitting all the rhetorical touch points, hitting all those emotional touch points for Trump's base. That's Tim's version, I think, of bowing and scraping. I think there must have been some sort of either nonverbal, like something that either there was some sort of concerted effort or unsaid agreement that I ain't going out like that. I ain't, but we have seen Tim Scott really play up Trump, play up his ties and his closeness to Trump. But we know for full well that Tim Scott is nowhere near as close to Trump as Lindsey Graham is. So I don't understand how this toxic relationship works. I don't see how Lindsey Scott is actually gaining any type of, outside of the optics of being close to Trump, I don't see how it's working out for him. And in the long run, it definitely is not going to work out for his legacy. It definitely won't.
I would have hung up too.
Hey, D.
And the core conclusion that Graham has is you lost a close election. Face it, notch it back. And now we have Trump out calling Senator Lee and Senator Graham. Somehow they folded. Trump is attacking them because they found the truth. And the truth is...
And I mean, attacking them, they found the truth, all of that. All right, let me move on, because I don't need to get to everything anyway. I wanted to get to, let's get to Nancy. That's what I wanted to, wait, there was a Salon article. I'll just flash it so y'all can either Google it or read it later. This right here, Trump lashes out at GOP senators, blames Lindsey Graham. We just heard this again. Also, too, what you notice it in the two clips, and you notice it probably in this article too. This is the book. This is also the publishers of this book doing around. So this is not even really like real journalism. This is the publishers making sure that the authors of the book, of course, legendary journalists, but making sure that the authors of the book get a lot of face time. Like you want to meet the press talking about this shit. That's huge. That's huge. You want to meet the press, pushing your book. You on CNN pushing this book, MSNBC pushing this book. So that's also not really a big story. We know that Trump likes to backbite. We know that Trump likes to, pulling his supporters and then push them away. We know that, right? He just dissed the shit out of that chick. I talked about it on Twitter real quick. He dissed the shit out of the chick that was like pulling Nikki Haley. Let me go to my profile. All right, my tweets. Right here. Like, so yeah, so this was a tweet that I responded to. Trump endorsed her opponent. So Trump came out and endorsed this woman, Seaver, for lieutenant governor. So she said, I've been a loyal DJT, I've been loyal to DJT from day one. When it wasn't cool back, it was never cool, baby girl. It's never cool to back this loser, all right, who couldn't even run a casino in Atlantic City. All right, when it wasn't cool back in 2015, his campaign saw my potential and hired me back in August 2015 as Georgia grassroots coordinator. Same thing with Nancy Mace, similar to Nancy Mace, although not endorsed by him. Don't let others, like, she's so mad he didn't endorse you. You come out attacking the person he endorsed. Just go cry in your pillow. Go get the Mike Lindell pillow and go ahead and cry in there. Like, and like the ROI on that shit is real dumb. Like, y'all keep, and this is what Lindsey Graham is doing. He's not even loyal to his own children. He's not loyal to, he played the shit out. He put gossip stories in the National Enquirer about his baby mamas and ex-wives and shit. Like, this dude's not loyal to his own family. So why would he be loyal to y'all, right? I'm gonna close that out. Why would he be loyal to y'all? Let's get to, I'll go back to YouTube and get to Nancy Mace, see what she's been up to.
Bob, the roles of Lindsey.
Sell that book, Bob. Sell that book. I wonder, like, Bob must be like, I think this is, how many books is he on since the Trump? I know he exhausted. So Nancy's been out late. She's been out a lot talking about the infrastructure, talking about the failed Afghanistan, withdrawal. She's been out here. Everything the Democrats do, she got a comment for it. I want to get to, this is more recent. I'm going to give her page some clicks, but it's okay. This is Rep. Nancy Mace speaks on the House floor. This is about, well, let's watch.
Since the U.S. withdrew troops from Afghanistan. Today, I rise to pay tribute to the heroes who paid the ultimate sacrifice in carrying out Operation Allies Refuge, and I'd like to especially recognize Joint Base Charleston Air Wings and their spouses who supported the overall mission.
Okay, cut her mic. I wanted to see I wanted to see her at the border. Let me see if I can find it. I guess she didn't upload. Oh, wait, a week ago. A month ago. When did she go to the border? Like a month ago? She's been doing these ride-alongs. She's been doing these gun range photo ops. She's been doing a lot of like out there in the field type shit. Let me just Nancy Mace border. How about you? Spell. Secure the border. See if there's any videos. So yeah. So this is her with Ted Cruz at the beginning of the month, September 5th.
I have about 60 seconds, but I want to thank the mayor. I want to thank the chief of police and the border patrol agents that we spent the last 24 hours with. This is my first official visit to the border, and the toughest job in America today is any man and woman that serves in uniform, from our border patrol agents to our local law enforcement.
If you got Ted Cruz behind you, Lord help you.
To our soldiers who are serving here and abroad and overseas.
No, we're going to talk about local lawmakers, but I didn't see that.
This is not a Republican or Democrat issue. This is an American issue. And
hey,
the
Joy.
longer that we wait to secure our border, the more money that the cartels in Mexico will amass, the more drugs that will come across the border, the more human trafficking in places like my hometown of Goose Creek, South Carolina, where we have human trafficking and sex trafficking.
Oh boy, did you hear that, Evelyn? If you're still watching, did you hear that? Human trafficking and sex trafficking. So she's speaking to Q. She's speaking directly to Q. Let me see where she's at right here. Remember now, this is the same shit that she poked fun at AOC for doing, right? This is the same bullshit.
Airport, headed back to Charleston. I have a long day ahead of me. I had a long night. We didn't get done observing the Border Patrol and their work until about 2 a.m. this morning. We had on our schedule to go and attend the midnight muster.
No one wants this. No one wants, like, no one in your damn district is asking you to do all this dumb shit.
That the Border Patrol agents have. It's a tradition for elected officials to be able to attend that when they are touring the border and observing the work of our Customs and Border Patrol. But we were banned and barred from attending the midnight muster last night or early this morning by DHS. This is obviously a political decision to bar Senator Ted Cruz, Congressman Chip Roy, and myself from attending this muster at midnight.
No one knows what the fuck you're talking about. No one knows what midnight muster is. It sounds like a 1970s slasher film. No one knows what that shit is. No one in your district gives a fuck about midnight muster. I would think people should show up with signs about what the fuck is midnight muster and why. How does this help me? How does it help me keep my kids in schools, keep them healthy in schools? How does midnight muster fix the pothole at the fucking end of the cul-de-sac? How does midnight muster, like, get the fuck out of here? What the yeah, right? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. You wanted to be out there at 2 a.m. for the photo op, and that's the thing. Like, let me just do a regular search. Images. This right here. This is the story. And the funny thing is, she's doing a lot of this shit right now, this theater, because they've turned on her, right? So this was the picture I used for the thumbnail this morning. So it says our border is a border is a super spreader. Okay. I'm glad you got your mask on. I'm glad you're showing us that in the photo. Our border is a super spreader. Today I'm traveling to the U.S.-Mexico border. The border is a hotbed for drug smuggling, trafficking, illegal immigration, untreated COVID-19 cases. Way to really, it's time to get some answers. Again, you know what I mean? I don't know what you say. I'm not taking a picture with Border Patrol like this. You ain't putting your hands around my waist. Right? Right? What is like, this just looks inappropriate. This looks inappropriate. Completely inappropriate. It just looks dumb. It looks like, it's like, hey, this is our second Tinder date. It's going good so far. Update you soon. What the fuck? Like, it's just weird. It's really weird. And then, like, okay, I wanted to pull up because we know Fitz News has been coming at her neck. That's why, like, y'all, please chill out with that Fitz News bullshit. As this, right? Fitz News been giving her hell. Is Fitz News one word or two? I'm only like Fitz News Mace. Let's just do a search. They've been giving her hell, and so has like the Lens Loomis group. They've been giving. I don't want to give Fitz News no clicks at all. At all. I'm just trying to get like a headline. Yeah. So like this is when you kind of Google Nancy Mace, you see a lot. Let me see. Let me take out Fitz News. You see a lot of anti-Mace rhetoric. She better call them Koch brothers. And then I'm gonna put Loomis. You know that Loomis again is the woman that started screaming and damning people to hell at City Council on Daniel Island. So absolutely shameful that you can't vote for nothing. I don't know if y'all can see this. I don't know if you can see it. Let me make it larger. All right. Let me see. Absolutely shameful that Nancy Mace voted for it. MAC so far has been pro-LGBT. Mace. I guess he meant Mace. She's been pro-LGBTQ, pro-choice. Oh, and remember her proximity to Liz Cheney. That's what I meant to say this a while ago. So that's what backfired. After we saw Liz Cheney do what she did, right? And rightfully so, she did the bar so low, the bar's in hell, but she did the right thing and not vote, she voted to impeach Trump. She's been very, very vocal about separating herself. She lost power. Liz Cheney did. Now you're seeing this shit bite Nancy, and she made all these calculations. She had the Post and Courier in her back pocket. You had the journalistic expertise of a Jennifer Berry Hawes writing the most romantic fluff fucking piece I've ever read about an elected official coming from South Carolina. You had all that going for you. And then you didn't know what would happen with Liz Cheney, right? The daughter of a war hawk. You didn't see that coming. And so now you got to prove your bona fides, your Trumpian bona fides to a base that just thinks you too, whatever. And look at this. Absolutely shameful Nancy Mace. Mace is so far has been pro-LGBT. Let me see what they're saying. Let me first see what they're saying. Pro-LGBTQ, pro-choice, pro-red flags, pro-BLM. Y'all, like, look at this craziness. Need I say more? Lynn Piper Loomis is a worthy candidate who needs our support. Like, are you fucking serious? Right? So Lynn has been going at Nancy Mace's neck regularly, right? And Fitz News has been helping her out, helping this crazy woman out by really going out and challenging Nancy Mace. There is no other challenger, right? There is no other challenger. Other than so this is how they work though. This is how the GOP works. They will support this unqualified lunatic, and I don't use that word loosely, seriously, right? I don't use that word loosely, but this woman is unhinged. They will support this unhinged lunatic before they would even like work with Nancy Mace here. This is bananas. Let me go back to the other tweets. Let me make it smaller because I can't see. This is bananas. Endorsement. Look at this. I don't know who these people are, but this is the sentiment that's growing. And I'm like, go ahead. Do it. Calling her a rhino. And it's not just a few, y'all. It's publications dedicated to it. She's getting a lot of support. This really poorly made flyer. I could talk. Yep. It's a lot coming at Nancy. So that'd be interesting. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. I know I kind of haven't read the chat a second. Let me see. Laura Croft. She did look like Laura Croft. She did look like the Laura Croft from Xenophobia. Good one, Jess. Oh my gosh. Nancy Max. I'm like, is it a bot? And like, so why would be pro LGBTQ? Why is that bad? You saying the quiet part out loud, y'all. Why would being pro red flag laws, right? And you saw what's his name, Cawthorn, the Cawthorn dude in North Carolina. You saw him have to go take to his Twitter this weekend and defend voting for red. They can't even vote for common sense legislation. Red flag laws are like the basic what you can do in terms of, it's like not even gun rights reform, right? And if you come from a state like South Carolina where women or partners are being killed by guns in domestic situations, you better support red flag laws. It's common sense. But this they created a monster. There's nothing. They'll never be happy with anything except bloodshed in a race war. They really won't be happy with anything. It's crazy. And they've given this woman so much credibility. A lot of credibility. All right, I should have led with this. I'm horrible, y'all. Let me see. I want to transition awkwardly. Wow. Awkwardly to city council. So tonight, we got less than 3 hours. If you haven't done it already, tomorrow I will, of course, I'll be live in the morning and then live again in the evening. We'll do another watch party. I'm reluctant to call it a party. It's not that festive. But tomorrow at 5 p.m. And this is the agenda for tomorrow's city council meeting, right? Yeah, tomorrow's city council meeting. So this is now, Evelyn, are you still there? Hold on. Let me see if the chat is current. Let me read what you just said, Evelyn. That's why we have absolute idiots in power, because industries with heavy lobbying power fund these campaigns. Absolutely. Hey, Kia. Hey, Evelyn, did you see this bullshit? Let me just scroll down because I should have led with this. I fucked up today. Did you see this? Again, they telling us how, in bold and red, how to participate. Did you see this shit right here? Item J? Y'all. Look at this. Council communications. Proposal to increase council member salaries to $25,000 a year, requested by council member Keith Waring. Now, is this smokescreen? Is this a tactic to kind of get us all up in arms about this and distract us away from other shit? Is it a smokescreen, or is this some fucking real shit? Because you can't even, you did not even earn an increase, bruh. And look, I want to acknowledge that we don't pay our elected officials. We don't pay, not at this level. You can make the argument that you should have a decent pay so this can be your primary focus. So you, being a lawmaker, being a council person, could be your primary focus. You can make that argument, but fuck that. Not this fucking council. This council can't do it. Right? Evelyn, and that part, they have lucrative jobs. They've got revenue streams. You think these pro-business council people, and I'm speaking directly about Shada Shaheed, Shealy, Mike Seekings, Del Chapo, Ross, Waring, you think that they haven't maximized their time on council? But not just, I'm not saying that they're taking money and nothing like that. I'm not insinuating that. I'm saying that they have spearheaded legislation that they will benefit from, if not now, in the future, right? They're going to be all right, is my point. They're going to be comfortable. But y'all, I want to know if y'all think that this is like a distraction or some shit. Red herring, right? It rhymes with wearing, kind of. Like, this is crazy. I was like, what? And then like, okay. And I had to do it because he wrote about it. then I made it over here because I was like, okay, let's see if there's any reporting on it. And I'm going to look to see if there's any other updated pieces that outside of an opinion piece here. But here's Hicks. He wrote about this yesterday. It says, some say higher city council salaries will pay off for us all. Let's see what he had to say. I didn't read this yet, y'all. I just Googled it. All right, I'm going to try to make it a little bit, playing myself. All right, I'm gonna read it this way. Okay. It's never a good time, politically at least, for public officials to give themselves more money, especially when money is tight and you're staring down the barrel of some monumentally expensive public works projects like a $1 billion seawall, which is bullshit. We're gonna have a whole show on that. Shout out to the homies. I've had some dialogue about why that seawall is bullshit. Like literal science. I'm gonna bring it to you. Like the $1 billion seawall to keep city from sinking. So the seawall is not going to keep us from sinking. They don't even sound like that makes sense. And take some fucking infrastructure money then. If money's tight, you got Qatar giving you fucking $100,000s of dollars. Go ahead and hit up Doha again. Get some extra money. I don't want to hear about no fucking tight budget. Not when all these hotels are going up. Tax the hotels then. Tax Hilton. Tax Marriott. Tax the hotels. You need money? Go ahead and shake them down. I don't want to hear about no fucking budget shortfall. Not with all this money coming in. Not with all this tourism. No, I don't want to hear. I'm serious. I don't want to hear shit about no fucking budget. I don't care about COVID or nothing. We know how these people who are already wealthy, these other interests have made money. We've seen Helen Hill send out newsletters, send out communications saying as much, that they're ahead of where they were in 2019. They're calling it, what we say, revenge travel, which is really just relief travel. People just want to get the fuck out of their city and come to places like Charleston. Like, shut the fuck up with this budget shortfall. Like, shut the fuck up. Tax the fucking developers then. Stop being a sellout. I can't use the W word, right? Stop being a sellout. Yo. Stop being a horrible ass business. Like, this is crazy. How you fumble. I don't give a fuck about COVID. This city's been wide open from the giddy up. You tell me how COVID really shut anything down here. This city's been wide open outside of the first few months when hotels were closing and they were laying off. Seriously, I'm not trying to like say that people didn't feel the crunch. I'm not saying that, but the city, there's money still coming in here. There are flights still coming in here. The projects didn't stop. Them cranes didn't stop. Them cranes are still moving and twirling around. Nothing stopped. Have you been down Romney? Have you been down Meeting Street? I almost got lost just looking like, wait a minute. I'm right by the what do you call it? The beer garden. I'm over there off of East Bay and shit. I'm literally like, where the fuck am I at? If it wasn't for the East Bay beer garden, I would like, right? Like, I'm sorry. I just got out. I'm sorry. Anyway, it ain't even the gist of his article, his opinion piece, but it just pissed me off. But to use that as a thing, like, get out of here. I'm gonna read y'all. Y'all lighten it up in the chat. I'm getting there. All right. It's never a good time to whatever, especially when the money is tight and you're staring down the barrel of some monumentally expensive bullshit projects like a $1 billion seawall to keep the city from sinking into the ocean. That seawall got some kind of flotation device. Then there's obvious taxpayers pretty much universally loathe the idea. No, we don't like to subsidize bad behavior and ineffectiveness and changing ordinances and cracking down on protesters and applying pressures to protesters and having your city prosecutor, crack down on people who are law-abiding protesters. That's what we don't want to subsidize. Bad leadership, right? But that's exactly what Charleston Council might do this week. I think this is a distraction. One month out from election, Council on Tuesday will discuss raising members' pay from $17,500 a year to $25,000. Cue the regularly scheduled outrage. See, and that's the bullshit. I hate smarmy smugness. He's not good at what he does. I'm sorry. He's not good. He's not. I can just see him at a Starbucks saying, comma, semicolon, burn. Like, you are not good at what you do. You are not good at SMARM. You are not good at this thing you're trying to do. You are at no risk of being a comedy writer with the Daily Show. Like, this is, I'm sorry. He's just so horrible. Let me read the chat. All right. L. Cool J, you said earlier, and they're using their council jobs to fortify their own jobs. Absolutely. To my point. Thank you. Kia, he says, what do they need to raise? Waring has plenty of money. Everybody know Waring pockets is deep too. Everybody know that. D, you said the only thing I wonder is if they if they raised it, would it make it more acceptable? And I said that earlier, right? But yeah. I just think the timing is really suspicious. Like, they're trying to get you all worked up on this issue. I would argue, don't even talk about this. Don't even talk about this if you submit comment. Because I think this is a distraction. Right? Joy, you agree with me? You said, oh, no, you agreeing with El Kuj. Let me see. Our city council is worthless. Evelyn, you responded to D. That could be the only benefit, but only if the people even have enough money to mount a successful campaign. It takes money. Look at Mike Seekins using drones and all that. That there was some big production value behind his bid for mayor, and he lost. After a runoff, but he lost. Right. Good question. Yeah, I think this is a distraction. I think this is a distraction. Y'all. I also just want to know how people are able to vote on their own salaries. Amen. I don't, and D, you said, I don't think sitting council should be able to vote on whether they, exactly. We should vote on that. It should be like a referendum or something on the ballot. For sure. No one thinks it's a distraction. I'm the only one. Nobody's saying that. Let's look at the agenda again. Let's look at the rest of the agenda. It's an easy red herring. It works either way, but maybe they got a pay bump. Yeah. Okay, let's look at what else is on here. Let me make it a little. Nah, I can't make it small because you won't be able to see it a little even vaguely. But let me scroll up. Just make sure. Okay, everything looks pretty standard here. Code here. I'm gonna hop off, and I'm probably just gonna submit a written statement. Roll call, invocation, prayer, all that shit. Presentation, recognition, proclamation, International Literacy Month, National Adult Education, Family Literacy Week. I didn't know that. Proclamation recognizing mesothelioma. Mesothelioma. Isn't that like the most searched Google word because of all the lawsuits, right? Is there like a financial thing here with that? We got a big mesothelioma issue here? Or is that like, some law firms put that up? Did some law firms put that up there? Because that feels like, those class action suits is easy money. Yeah, that's very weird. Proclamation recognizing mesothelioma. That's crazy. Okay, let me see. Mail comments. We can mail comments. Yeah. Rules and regs. We already know they want you to be on your best behavior. 1, an ordinance to amend zoning ordinance of city council by changing zoning map. Okay, I'm gonna scroll down, y'all. Can't get into everything. Ordinance to amend zoning ordinance. Yup. Ordinance to amend Article 3. This is old business. Ordinance to amend zoning ordinance to city. Item F, act on public hearing matters. G, approval of city council minutes, right? The ones that were deferred from last time. This is the participation period. Again, telling you that you use the quorum. Citizens may use one of the following methods to request to speak or provide comment. Request to speak at the meeting. And comments must be received by 12 p.m. So is this in person? No, request to speak. Request to speak. Leave a comment via voicemail. If requesting to speak, please provide your name and telephone number. Time to speak. Leave comments by completing a form today at 12 p.m. Is this in person? Is it hybrid? Petitions and communications. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Okay. Hey, Susanna. There are a couple of plaintiff firms in Charleston that are big into the asbestos litigation. I bet they are. Thank you, Susanna, for adding that. You're probably right. It's likely distraction. Yep, I think it is. I don't know. Spanish Heritage. I know, right? I didn't see anything about Spanish Heritage Month last week or anything. Good observation, Kia. in terms of proclamations. I don't know. This is okay. So citizens participation period, and then after that, and so you do the participation period, and then they talk about the staff, the city council salary increase. Interesting. They always do that though. Update on discussion and late night activity. Look at this shit right here. Okay, petitions and communications. All right, there's an update. Emergency management director. Okay, and then there's an update on discussion on late night activity with and around the Central Business District. CVB and the CBD. Okay, the CVB has established the CBD on King Street. They don't give a fuck about Avondale. They don't give a fuck about West Ashley or what is it? What's that area over there? Oak Forest. They don't care about nothing. Okay, update. Oh, this is the red. This right here, y'all. Update on discussion on late night activity and around the Central Business District on King Street, and further restrictions necessary to assist law enforcement, if any. Robert Summerfield, Director of Planning, Preservation, and Sustainability. Julia Copeland, Assistant Corporation Counsel. So item petition. Okay, it's I. Alphabet. I under petitions of communication, and then item J. Let's keep going. Ooh. Okay. Council committee reports on traffic and transportation, Battery Avenue issue, a Charleston County project update, traffic calming, item K, section part 1, section C. I don't know how to break it down. Traffic calming update. Committee on Public Works and Utilities meeting was held Monday, September 27th. Was it held? Let me stop. It was held. It's going to be held today. Stormwater Management Department recommend approval for her. You know what? We're going to have a really good show dedicated to this week. I'm going to go ahead and book it. This week, we're going to talk about the city's response to climate change and rising sea level rise. We're going to talk about it and take a lot of the research from, of course, the Friends of Gadsden Creek homies and some other things. That just made me think about it. Stormwater management made me think about that. There's nothing right here specifically that has anything to do with that, but it just made me think about it. Ways and Means, Lord. Ordinance authorizing creation of Johns Island Municipal Improvement District. Oh my God. The stuff that's already in motion, it almost feels overwhelming, and it's designed to do that. It's designed. That's why live streaming it with you all is very helpful, because some of y'all can offer insight that I just don't have, and vice versa. American Rescue. Okay, so this is important. Give a first reading to the following bills and resolution from Ways and Means. An ordinance to increase appropriations of the city of Charleston for the fiscal year ending in December 31st, 2021. An ordinance to recognize the receipt of the American Rescue Plan Act funding to meet the appropriations authorized by Ordinance 2020-175 for the this fiscal year. A resolution approving allocation of the ARPA funds. So that's important. That's really important. Bills up for a third reading. A zoning ordinance. Let me see. That's the only one up for a third reading. Bills up for a second reading. Ordinance annexation of property. Ordinance providing annexation on this property. Another annexation property. Let's see if there's anything else. Ordinance requiring, here we go. Right here, item 4. All right, so this is a second reading or third reading? This is up for a second reading. All right, an ordinance requiring face coverings in certain circumstances in city of Charleston to reduce risk of exposure to COVID-19, right? So we watched at the beginning of the live stream, for those who were with me, we watched how COVID-19 is still a thing, no matter what you see, no matter what you're hearing about the downward trends. Pregnant women, unvaccinated people are still, we're seeing, you know, I think it's uptick in deaths. If hospitalizations are going up, going down, but the deaths are going up or something like that, just don't let them cherry pick parts of the data to fit their arguments on why we don't need mask ordinances. All right, so this is going to be important. I got y'all in the chat. I'm just trying to get through this. Another ordinance amended authorizing the mayor to execute on behalf of the city. Second Amendment transfer agreement between, I don't know what this is about. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Maybe they're hoping attention. Meg, you said not in person. Harry was crying about that last meeting. Right, I remember that. Right. Thank you, Meg. More annexation, zoning. And I put a link to this doc in the newsletter if you still get it. So if you get the newsletter, you can read this and not see me scroll so fast and fuck with your eyes. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to get through it. Whew. Bills up for first reading. Nothing there. Miscellaneous business. Executive session in accordance with yada, yada, yada. Legal advice. Charleston School of Law transaction. Ooh. Next regular meeting of City Council will be Tuesday, October 12th at 5. Okay. Yeah, so we got some things to look at. The mask discussion is important. Face covering right here. This is important. The raises are important, but I think it's a distraction. I think it's a distraction. But it's worth listening to the conversation. The allocations of the American Rescue Plan funding, that's important. And y'all can see El J says, question, what should we focus public comment? I don't know. I don't really feel comfortable telling you what to focus on. I think the last live stream I did on last week, so Friday's live stream, for me, I want to provide comment regarding what's perceived to be increased attention paid to activists, and how I feel like I want to talk about how council has been restricting access to these democratic options, like limiting public comment, because they're probably going to do it again, limiting public comment to 30 minutes total, 30 seconds each. I know that some of the chairs of the Special Commission on Race Inclusion and Equity, I know that some of those chairs are working with Marcus, and they've drafted a letter. I've seen Dr. Felice Knight and I don't want to mess up her name, but the other chairs are drafting a letter, but I don't want to talk too much about that effort, but there is a letter being drafted so I don't know how that's going to be shared to city council or to city leadership, but I do know that issue is not over with either, but I don't really feel comfortable giving it an explicit, I know what's top of mind for me is that city council, I feel like I want to talk about city council really making sure that the public is not heard. There's a way to do their job, and there's a way to listen to city comment. Even those who are unhinged, is a way to kind of facilitate this conversation or have conversations about these issues, these agenda items, without making everyone else pay for it. And then moving forward, that can't be the norm. That can't be the precedent moving forward. I don't want to waste time on the salary thing. I think you can email Waring and tell him how the fuck you feel about that bullshit. I think you can email anyone on your city council rep and just tell them like, shut, where do you stand on that? I think getting city council on the record is going to be hard. I wish we had, I think the press does call people, but y'all have seen it. Y'all have done it. We've done it. You try to call some of these council people and they're almost impossible to get to, right? Further adding to the frustration and the desire to submit public comment is they're not as accessible. But I think that try to get your elected official on the record when it comes to this salary increase, but we'll probably hear some of that tonight in the conversation. But what they did last week, that's still fucking with me. And the fact that they're really trying to limit access to these platforms, limit the protesters' access to it is appalling. Look, other cities go through way worse. Other cities go through way more raucous virtual town halls. Sit there and take your medicine. Right? Yeah, I'll talk offline, LQJ, about that again. I don't want to take too much family business and bring it out into the public regarding what's going on with that, but I do know that the leaders with the commission are working on that. So and then you're asking me, y'all, I don't know. Like we all kind of saw and read the reporting. They voted no, and it doesn't seem like anyone has made any movement. There seems to be no movement from city council to bring the issue back up. I expected to see the equity discussion, the special commission discussion brought back up. I expected to see it here. So I don't know. I think I have not communicated with Amber like I did last time. I don't have the bandwidth to hop on a number of calls right now with that, but thank you, D. But yeah, if someone could, I don't know. I think we need clarity on that. I'm not trying to deflect or anything, but I don't have all the answers. I expect to see it here. I thought it would be mentioned here. I thought it would be some sort of motion to maybe a motion made to further discuss this issue. I haven't heard anything like that. I heard that there's a letter being written. And so I would think my suggestion also would be, LQJ, is to watch for the black leadership around that issue, watch for their movement, and anything that they make public is something that I will definitely amplify. But being that I did not contribute to the edits of the document, I can't really speak on it, and I'm not really I don't have the bandwidth to go back and forth and edit a document outside of what I do every day here. So, but I do know at least that I've been included on some communication. It feels like I was in some communication, but not all. But I think that people have at least gotten together to co-edit a document. So when I have more tomorrow, I will have more tomorrow. I hope I didn't sound dismissive, but I'll probably have more tomorrow. That during the morning, I know that folks are trying to get their comments ready today. I've read to you what I think are some of the more important issues on the agenda, but that's not to say that you can't bring up stuff from last week. That's not to say that you can't submit comment about how city council has restricted access to public comment. That's what I plan on doing. I didn't mean to go on and on about it, but yeah. Watch for not everything is gonna be like publicly just discussed, and I really do like the thoughtfulness that I'm seeing from the leadership, from the chairs of the commission. And I've basically been following any email I get from Dr. Police Night. I do whatever is asked of me in there. This thing with Marcus, I think he facilitated a space to create a document. From what I see is that the chairs have been very instrumental. But I'll have more tomorrow. But I honestly really just want to encourage people to talk about the things that's important to you, and talk about the things that we've seen happening around the city. Talk about the masks. Talk about the Proud Boys being present in some of this, and and how just talk about the things that are really important to you. I'm not organizing any response. Yeah. All right. Ooh, I'm wiped out, y'all. All right. Sorry for going on and on at the end there, but I really enjoyed today's live stream. I'm running on EEE. Stayed up watching a lot of sports and other shenanigans, and we'll be going to take a nap. I really appreciate all the subscriptions today, the new follows. Allie came into the building. People that I know on Facebook are here. I really appreciate it. Joy, I appreciate you. Yeah, I know, right? I'm doing. I'm. Can I just? This is an L Cool J. You know, I love you like cook food. So this is not about you. But sometimes when people are like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, I'm tapped out. I don't know what to do. I'm doing it. Like I'm doing it now. That's how I be feeling. I appreciate y'all. Like I said at the beginning, and I don't just say it because I'm talking about Patreon. I'm telling you, I'm gonna say this, and I'm a dip. There have been, it's really funny how I think this past week is the first time I allowed myself to look at the work that I've been a part of, the work that I've either joined, the friends I've made, the leaders I've worked with, and I realized, God damn, Mika, you've been not saying toot my own horn, but it's a lot. It's a lot. Women's March was a lot. Indivisible was a lot. Live streaming, organizing, rallies. It's just been a lot. And I'm bringing it up for this point. Though it's been filled with all of this like hyperactivity and all this other stuff, there are moments where this city, and I had a conversation with some folks, a lot of folks either leaving this area, transitioning to something different. There's multiple people here contemplating on preparing to move from Charleston, and in this chat right here on Twitch, and it's like the when I'm having these conversations about what's the impetus behind the move, and they all vary. The fact of the matter is that this place is just really, really difficult. It's difficult to live here. You don't get a sense of community here. And I think COVID just exasperated a lot of that, being unable to get together with people, to commune with folks. And so I look back on the time I've spent as an organizer throughout the state, Black Voters Matter, all of that, right? Program manager with Cypress Fund. And I'm like, I'm just grateful that I've made profound connections with real people. And I'm just grateful. I'm really grateful that we have each other to bounce things off of and to ask questions and to plan and to strategize with. I'm really grateful for that, because if I didn't have that, I'd be probably in one of y'all's cars going, take me with you. I'd be in somebody's station wagon in the back, old school. That was a flashback to my youth. I'd be in the back of somebody's old school station wagon, take me with you. And I'm not saying people who leaving don't have the stuff, don't have the metal. It's just really tough. It's tough to live in a tourism city. It's super tough. And it's just really, you're good. Lynn, you're good. It's just, I really appreciate the community that exists. And then I really appreciate that folks who have left, people who are planning to leave, how you still have a piece of Charleston somewhere with you, and you'll be connected. I don't expect people to be super engrossed in this, and hopefully this platform won't just be Charleston specific. The goal is to make it a more regional, to build coalitions, to talk to more people in Georgia, talk to more people in North Carolina, in the South in general, in the Black Belt. Check out people in Alabama, check out progressive organizers in Mississippi. That's the goal of this, is not to make it so Charleston specific. And I love looking at progressive work being done in those other Southern spaces, because it shows us that Charleston could do better if it was just motivated to do better. If it was more beholden to the public instead of these industries, these developers and these tourism industries, it shows you that they're just not committed to actually serving the best interests of the people who live here, who live here. So anyway, I just wanted to say that it is hard work. I took You took a break? Joy, I fell into some Hulu. I ain't watched Hulu as long as much as I did too. I just really took a break, and that's my weekends have become sacrosanct. Like, you can't touch them. And this is fun. I'm dragging ass, but y'all got me up with Tim Scott and his neon green socks from Sign Mart. That shit's fun. And talking about these issues seriously though, talking about the seriousness of these issues, but having some levity, having some fun with it is important. So I just want to say thank y'all, but I don't have all the answers. I recorded a podcast at 12 o'clock at night. I don't know. I don't know. Y'all, not complaining, just keeping it fucking real. Let me go ahead and eat this leftover hoagie from yesterday's games. I'm gonna see you tomorrow at 7:30, bright and early. We're gonna also live stream tomorrow, so make sure you rest up. I need y'all tomorrow night. All right, submit your comment. You got just over 2 hours to submit your comment. Submit your comment. I'm not going to play myself this time. I'm going to submit a written comment, okay? Links in the newsletter. I will see you mañana. Have a good rest. Be safe out there. Mask up. Bye.